Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sweetcast. We're running a little behind. That's my fault. But welcome. We're going to talk about public domain, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We have, as always, Eric Weathers.
Hello there, it's me, Eric Weathers. How you doing today?
Very good, very good. And then we have I'm trying to think of a good, we'll just go with Publishing Peter
Publishing
Sumedi.
Pete. Yeah,
Publishing
hey, how's
Pete.
it going?
There we go.
Like it.
All right. So public domain characters, this has been a topic that comes up a lot. And I've thought about it a little bit. I'll be honest, not a ton, but a little bit. I took a class in college on it and I've forgotten mostly everything. So yeah, this is worth talking about because it comes up a lot. I just want to look at the chat real quick. Vielmed, hope that I said that right. Curiosity has the best of me. The topic was just too tantalizing. Yep, welcome. Miserable media, ha. Welcome. Let's see. Good day, everyone. Hello, Ozart Creations. Alfonso's here. Great. Aldous is here. Good evening. All right. Question. Here's a question for everybody. Is Superman public domain? Simple question with a complicated answer, right?
My answer is I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Peter,
Super-man.
You sent me a video on this and it explained it pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think that you could explain it a little bit better than I can, even after just watching the video. How do you answer that question?
Okay, well, to my estimation, from speaking not only with a lawyer, but I've got two friends also who are copyright attorneys. And I'll just preface this by saying years ago, we actually had a Sherlock Holmes book at Alterna. Brett M. Herholtz had put it out. And it was basically just based on a Sherlock Holmes play that was never really within copyright. It was out of it, and it's kind of just never been adapted fully and all that other stuff. Turned it into a book, and we had someone who was claiming to be from the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle estate reach out to us. That was a false claim. We never gave them any money. But even then, they still only wanted a percentage. They said, hey, we want to license this, you give us a little bit. I think it was like 15 or 18%, something like that. And a couple months after that person contacted us, and this was maybe a year before the book was going to get put out, they just kind of heard it through the grapevine. I got sent a legal notice that this person was getting sued by the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle estate for claiming to be connected to the estate, and that they were doing this, and they were loosely connected back in like the 70s. And since that point in time, they kind of got kicked out of the trust, and they still kept trying to get money from it. And they had successfully gotten money from some people, just kind of scaring them here and there and saying, oh, we'll let you use the Sherlock Holmes trademark and this and that if you give us a little bit of money.
Just give us a little bit off the top, and we'll just turn the other. Turn a blind eye to it.
So I had spoken to a lawyer at that time. Now, Alterna is creator-owned, and at that point, this was years ago. This was before I really wanted to just stick to doing creator-owned. And the lawyer basically said, yes, copyright will protect works. It'll protect the song. It'll protect the film, all that kind of stuff. It'll protect the book and the contents therein. But trademark will protect a character logo, a title, a name, a likeness, all that kind of stuff. And trademark can basically be renewed in perpetuity. Now, if you just have somebody like me, let's say, and I want to renew the trademark for as long as I'm allowed and alive for a character I create, that's one thing. But when you have a corporation who essentially owns the character, like in this case with DC and Superman, even though people created these characters, and this is always something that's going to go back to the comic industry's creator rights feud, you have a corporation that essentially owns that character. So that corporation, as long as they still have this character out and about, stories might get out of copyright protection and fall into public domain. But a character will always be under their trademark. So long as that company is still around, they're still putting that character out there on any kind of comic book, show, merchandising, whatever. And as long as a company like DC or whoever were to buy DC keeps on doing that with a character like Superman, you'll have something like Max Fleischer cartoons of Superman falling into public domain territory. So you can air those, and you're not going to get slapped with, hey, cease and desist, stop showing that. But it doesn't mean you can create your own Superman cartoons, because Superman is trademarked. So the works being protected under copyright are different than a character technically being under copyright, and it has to fall within a certain amount of time and all that other stuff. And you can create an analog of characters. So that's why I don't really know why there's so much kind of a fervor over wanting a public domain character, because there are various obstacles. It's not as easy as people may think.
It reminds me, I met this guy back when I was publishing novels on Amazon, and he was publishing old public domain stories, like word for word, as though you were showing whatever old Superman cartoons that were in the public domain. But he would change, because it turns out you can even copyright your version of that. So I'm trying to think of like a good one, like Pride and Prejudice, public domain, like all the classics. So he would do it, but he'd make changes to the typeface. I don't know that the typeface really mattered, but he would make changes, and then he would make changes also to the, like, just certain content. He would change a few of the words, just so that he had his version. I don't know how legal this, like how that would affect anything. But yeah, he was reselling the same story. Like it was that story, rather than the character, even though all the ones that he had worked on were, it doesn't matter. They weren't owned by a company with characters. They were written by individuals. So it sounds like that's the big difference, because if you're doing a Sherlock Holmes story comic, we'll say, Sherlock Holmes isn't owned by a corporation. It was written by an individual, and an individual owned the copyright. Is that correct?
Essentially, yes, but now it's an estate. And Sherlock Holmes is a particular case too, where it's really a gray area, a very strange gray area, because there's some works that are still protected by copyright, and there are some works that are not. And you'll whenever you have a copyright or a trademark as well, the more you do not defend the copyright and trademark legally, the more you establish a precedent that you own the trademark. You're not really defending it. You have to. That's part of it. Part of the whole thing about trademarks is
for your right to party.
Exactly. You have to defend it. You have to legally go after that person and sue that person. Like some people are wondering, why do these companies sometimes do this? But that's why, because as soon as they stop defending it, or and this also depends on how a judge wants to rule it as well, because that's where you also get the letter of the law is what it is, but then you get the interpretation of the law and the ruling, which is through a judge. But in most cases with the letter of the law, you're going to get these cases where you can still argue within the copyright and the public domain and all of that kind of stuff. But when it comes to the trademarking could be forever and ever. And the thing is, if you can't necessarily, like, let's say Batman falls into public domain, and yet the trademark is still there, it's still being used, it's still, you still got DC Comics doing Batman everything. Well, you can't put a Batman title out there. You can't say Batman on the title. You can't use the bat symbol. You can't use anything that looks like Batman. So why even bother at that point? Everything that's valuable, that brings value to that IP, and why you would really want to use it and why it's attractive, you really kind of can't use, because it's all protected under trademark. And even if you have legal footing and you think you have a case, if you're up against a gigantic corporation, they're going to just send wave after wave of lawyers against you. It's not worth it.
It's time to set up a GoFundMe, I say.
Yeah. If you really want to write Batman. Yeah. So, okay. So this brings up a topic here. And so Eric is writing, or he's working on, you're co-writing, aren't you, Oz?
Yeah.
Operation
Well,
Zephyr.
I'm here for the pictures nowadays, but But yeah, Operation Zephyr.
Okay, Operation Zephyr is based on The Wizard of Oz.
That's correct.
Okay.
Off of the book, The Wizard of Oz. It's based on it.
Yeah.
It is not a... I'm not just making The Wizard of Oz again.
And why not? That's my question. Like, from your as a creator, like without any of the legal stuff or whatever, why retell it? Why change it and do your own spin on it rather than just tell The Wizard of Oz? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, The Wizard of Oz is what it is. It's been told and retold a dozen times.
Right.
I feel like I came about this idea sort of, I don't know if I've told that on this stream before, but I came about the idea for Wizard of Oz very sideways. I had finished working on Flying Fortress, the initial artwork and writing and all of that, publishing of it, and I was sort of done with comics, so I picked up painting. I'm trying to give the cliff notes here. So I thought I'll get good at painting, and then I'll do concept art and go into like video game companies and just do that for a living. And so I started to build a portfolio, and I was inspired by games like Tom Clancy games that came out a few years ago, like The Division and Wildlands, and other games like Battlefield. So I thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if I had a portfolio piece that was quote unquote a game like this? And then I thought, well, what if I don't remember how The Wizard of Oz came into play, but I looked at I don't know if it's still this way. I haven't played Battlefield in a while, but there are it's a squad based, not squad based. What's it called? Each person can play a different role, class based shooter. So there's like a medic, there's a grenadier, there's an engineer, and there's a regular assault, and they each play a different role. And then when if you have a squad of your buddies and everybody plays a different role and does well, you can really tear up the competition. So the idea was like, wouldn't it be cool if, and I just somehow, I don't remember where Oz came from, but it plugged into that. So like Dorothy would be, and it was all to make a concept art piece as a portfolio piece to shop around to whoever, right? So Dorothy would be the regular assault, and then the heavy weapons guy would be the lion because he's the big guy. Tin Man would be the engineer because he could fix things, and Scarecrow would be the sniper because he is a ghillie suit. And so I took that idea, and after hearing somebody's thoughts on not just making a portfolio piece, but making a product and telling a story, I thought, you know what, maybe I should make a comic book about it. So I chewed on that for a little while, and then I met Zeb, and that's where I handed him that box, and he tore it apart and put it back together. And we've come up with what we're making.
Cool.
So I didn't set out to make an Oz. I wasn't like, ooh, what can I do with a public domain character? It wasn't like that.
Yeah, and so this is Peter, you explained it to me really well, but there's something to taking inspiration from a public domain like that can be really useful, and then making your own thing that is actually more valuable and probably to the audience too. I would think, I'm going to venture a guess there, than just retelling like The Wizard of Oz, for example,
which was done a few years ago by Scotty Young and somebody else.
Yeah. And
there's a great Wizard of Oz manga too that I read a couple of years back.
Yeah,
and that was really good. With yours, Eric, are you using elements that are only found within the book, or are you using any elements that are found within the film? Like for instance, the ruby slippers are only in the film. It was silver slippers in the book.
There are no slippers in our book.
Okay.
There is.
You want to be careful of that to make sure you stay away from, because the film and the contents therein and the that kind of design, those things are still under copyright and trademark and all that stuff.
If we were to, like, we have an element that would technically be like, it was just these magical slippers that they really had no defined power in the book. They were just magical slippers.
Yeah.
So we have an element that
Is it a
trying to
magic
tread lightly here.
a magic Gatling gun? Is that what
We have it's not even magic in our thing, but we have something that is, she doesn't wear it. It's not it's not slippers. It's not, there's no place like home. It's not like that. So, but it is an allegory for that, or whatever you want to call it. It's
So it's your original creation. So that's good.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's nothing's going on her feet.
right?
She's not clicking her heels together. Yeah.
There's
I
no-
like magic
no-
Gatling gun though.
That's the thing is she could have, magical gloves
Yeah.
instead of
Or
slippers.
perhaps a ring
There's, there's
that's
workarounds.
green, and then whatever she thinks, it'll just make whatever she thinks.
Yeah.
Like a magic Gatling gun.
Yeah, I like that idea.
And she charges it in like a Coleman lantern.
You
Propane-
could, you
Propane
might,
girl.
you might be able to use that idea, but it's now copyrighted by me. So,
Oh, dang it.
uh,
You're over there
yeah.
like frantically like typing this out to your lawyer and say, copyright this now.
You'd have to hurry and write something. Yeah. So I'm curious. We got about 40 people in the chat right now. I'm curious if you have a desire to write a public domain character, or like just do something with a public domain character. Give me an F in the chat. If you do one or two, then it won't work. So we'll do F. Why not?
Aldous says Coleman will now strike this stream. I have an in. I used to work there. I used to do graphic design for Coleman, so they'll be good to me.
All right, figured out. Yeah. There we go. Jimmy Arms got F. Eventually F for Aldous. Yeah. Elon Musk F question mark. Yeah. So we'll watch those come in. This is something that comes up a lot. The thing is, here, let me share this with you.
Also,
I don't-
press F if you're just pressing F to press F.
There we go. Everyone likes pressing F. That's why I picked it. Public domain.
Pay respects.
Public domain characters pay respects. I don't know how accurate this is, and I'm not a lawyer. Okay, so I've got to just say that if you write any of these characters and you get sued, it's not my fault.
No, it's the website's fault.
Yeah, blame this website. But I googled it, and there's a list of public domain characters, from everything, really.
Yeah, it's a long list.
The thing is, yeah, I looked through these, and most of them, I'm like, I don't even know who that is. I have no idea. But you can see like Frankenstein. Wasn't there a Superman or a superhero version of Frankenstein? I can't remember.
Yeah, Graveyard Shift.
Well, but yeah, something that was earlier too. Hercules, it's another one.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you'll see that character. Zorro, that is seen everywhere. Robin Hood. There's all sorts of different things. Now I think of like Green Arrow. Green Arrow is not Robin Hood, but it kind of it reminds me of Operation Zephyr as to Wizard of Oz, in that it's obviously hearkening to Robin Hood, but it's different. Where's Peter? You explained this really well. Where's the value in changing public domain and making it your own IP?
So you mean basically like when you combine, you're making your own story and you're combining a public domain character within that story, within an original story?
Yeah, using the character. Like if you use some of the public domain stuff, but you're still making your own thing that's different. You're not just telling like a Zorro story, for example.
Yeah, so even Eric's story. Eric's story is a really good example of that. And then you mentioned something earlier today to me about a Dracula story.
Yeah.
And I said, well, if you were to create your own story about like a vampire hunter and had that they were hunting Dracula, you could use Dracula within that story and still have the benefit of you have your original IP in there. And it's not just focused on retelling Dracula, because I've seen people that want to retell Dracula in every single way possible. And but it's the same thing we're seeing when we all love these characters that we know about, like a Spider-Man, a Superman, a Batman, whatever it is, that's become iconic. When you don't stay faithful to that iconic nature of those characters, that because that's the double-edged sword with when you're dealing with a character that's very well known, you're going to have a gigantic backlash of people being very upset that you're not staying true to the character that they know and love, even if it's public domain. Now, if you've got a public domain character you're using that it's very obscure, no one even knows about it, but you're really like, wow, this is a really great story. This is a great character design, all this awesome stuff. I want to use this character. I think I could do something really good with it. At that point in time, you should ask yourself, well, if it's super obscure, it might be better for me to just create my own character and kind of base certain things off of this public domain character, and I don't have to worry about getting sued or anything like that. Or you can go ahead and use the public domain one, but to me, you put in so much time and effort and energy and money into the thing. There's tremendous amounts of money to be made if I want to create a Dracula story and hire an artist to do it. But I'm not necessarily going to make money. The artist will, the creative team will, but I'm going to make money based solely off of how much of that product I can sell. And as we see right now in comics and in anything else, a licensed property or whatever, or something that's popular, especially if it's public domain, it's not a guarantee for sales. I mean, we can look at comic sales, especially right now, if we just want to stick to the realm of comics. A licensed book doesn't mean that you're going to have, a top tier book with really high sales. If anything, licensed books generally seem to be on the bottom end of the stack. Mm-hmm. And then you have to pay out licensing and everything else involved.
Yeah, it's still about how you pull it off and how you tell a story, what the art looks like. All that stuff is still important. I suspect for those people watching that want to do a public domain character, I'd be interested to hear if anybody can explain as to why you want to do a public domain character. I'd be interested to see. But yeah, if I feel like a lot of the appeal is if I do a Zorro book, everybody's going to know who Zorro is, and therefore there's already going to be a built-in audience. When I think you're right, that's not necessarily true. And in fact, I think it could actually work. It could actually work against you in some cases. And I'll tell you, the only reason I want to do a Dracula story, and again, like mildly, like it's not in the pipeline right now, it's just because my name's Clint Stoker and Bram Stoker wrote the original. That's the only reason.
Stoker's Dracula.
It's really just about the cover. That's all it's about.
Yeah. We could just do a print.
It's true.
Just make a print.
I could do.
If you took that and you made like teenage angsty Dracula or whatever, you put your spin on it.
Oh yeah.
But then it's stuff like that and we see that all the time, right? We see all that kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah, Robert Roberts brings up Sherlock Holmes TV and movies seem to do well. Yeah, they do, and it's, I think, in large part due to the fact of who's acting in it, how well they're written. Like the BBC version is super entertaining. I liked the Robert Downey Jr. ones. I don't know. I think there's a lot more to it other than just the name. Though, of the public domain characters, Sherlock Holmes is one of the more interesting ones. Some of them I'm just like, man, that would be a challenge to write a story for some of these really obscure characters.
Well, I can think of something that is similar to what I feel like I'm doing with Oz. And I'll be honest, I haven't read the book, but it always piqued my interest, and that's Peter Panzerfaust. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
Yeah, I've read the whole series. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's basically Peter Pan set in World War II, but with soldiers, right? So,
yeah.
Is there like a Wendy and a Doctor Hook? That's something else.
Yeah.
Is there a Captain Hook character and all of that?
Yeah. Oh, have you not read it?
I have not read it. I just loved the name. It was one of those things I need to get that someday, and I never have. So you can just go ahead and send that my way.
I'll let you borrow it. Yeah.
I actually over to crash at your place when we go to Utah Comic-Con, which is Comic-Con, because then they'd get sued for copyright infringement.
Yeah, I know this is a big spiral. Yeah, no, I do like it quite a bit. It does remind me of Band of Brothers, actually.
Ooh, that's right up my alley.
Yeah, and he actually said Curtis Weeb, I think he said that he took
Weeby,
is that? Yeah, he took inspiration from Band of Brothers from it, because they even have the interviews from when they're older. But yeah, you're exactly right. There's a Captain Hook character that is a Nazi. There is
he can't see. Is that what you mean? He's blind.
Yeah, he just can't see anything.
Okay.
So yeah, there's all the equivalent characters, but it mainly just hints at some of the things. Like the biggest thing is in the first issue, you have like the moment where like Peter Pan teaches them how to fly by jumping out a window.
Mm-hmm.
You have the same thing, but it's like a war-torn city in an orphanage, and he has them jump out a window. And so it's not really magic.
Right.
It has more to do with making
They have
them.
Red Bull, right?
Yeah, they gave them wings. Yeah, it's. I think it's like the imagination of children and how they interpreted things, in a time of war and really high stress and stuff.
But here's one of the things that I've been sort of wondering is, do I need to change these characters' names? Can I have Dorothy Gale and Howard Gale, or do I need to do I need to speak to a lawyer? Or are they, because they're on this website, so they must be good to go.
Well, this website is basically ironclad.
That's what I figured. It's so chiseled in stone.
I'm pretty
as long as those names are from the public domain book,
okay,
then you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you could also make up names in addition to that.
All this says, how about Dorothy Dale? I like that one. That's the Oz horror story, Dorothy.
Muskie Elon in the chat says something that's absolutely true. He says, when using a public domain character, you're actually open to a harassing lawsuit. They will sue you just to get paid to go away. Harassment suits happen all the time. Yeah. That's definitely true. And even though it's, obviously they don't necessarily have a legal leg to stand on, it depends how much time and money you want to waste in court fighting them.
Right. I will enlist Nick Rekieta and GoFundMe. I'm just going to go down that road again.
Do it. Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. If it's a battle. Yeah. And this is a thing. I mean, Ethan even brought this up with Rainbow Brute, which is, it's not public domain. This is satire, but you can still get through the same kind of legal muddy waters. Just only because somebody wants to sue you over it. I don't know. Yeah, I've heard of so many horror stories of that kind of thing happening.
Yeah, even the now defunct Mad Magazine, they used to get sent tons of lawsuits and threatening, cease and desist letters, that kind of stuff. And they're fully protected with parody laws. So they still get the lawsuits and everything, anyway. Yeah.
Even on I don't know, just like closer to home, YouTube, I made this video that was, I made a video and I had clips. I went through all of it. It was about Anders Breivik and some of this, how that relates to comics. I don't want to get too much into it, but I made a video about that. I had a little clip that was shown on PBS, but PBS took it from another news report from a local news reporter, and it had the Timothy McVeigh being interviewed, and I showed about it was like 10 seconds, 11 seconds of that clip, and PBS did a copyright claim, so they took the video and were monetizing it for them. And I could have fought it because it was educational. It was like I had a fair use, fair use. But I would have had to have fought it legally, and YouTube will ask you if you're willing to do that, and I wasn't, so I just took down the video. So yeah, that, I don't know, that kind of thing happens, where it's just an intimidation more than a legal, legal right. So yeah, this is really interesting stuff. And I'm more, when I talked to you earlier today, Peter, I was thinking, like again, public domain characters, there's little fun things again, just like, oh, my last name's Stoker. That would be cool, like a gimmick almost. Not almost, it would be a gimmick. But really what I get excited about anyway is the new stuff that I'm thinking of. And you can draw inspiration from anything, even if it's not public domain, obviously, as long as you're not stealing things. But that's how art works and storytelling all the time. You're just taking ideas and building things. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure that I really want to do a public domain character.
I mean, to me, it's not necessarily worth it. And even if you were to see, like the conversation I was having today, on Twitter. Even if you were to see characters like Superman and Batman go into public domain, like these stories go into public domain, realistically looking at it, and the fact that they have a giant corporation that's backing them up with the trademark, and they're still going to put out stuff. I mean, we're talking about massive hypotheticals that, you know, all these perfect things have to happen for you to be, you know, able to publish your very own Batman comic. It's not even worth thinking on that scope when you can put that time and effort and energy towards creating your own thing.
Yeah, you could just put all that time, effort, energy to becoming the next Sean Gordon Murphy, and then DC will just hand you the reins.
Yeah, you know, you can. Yeah, right. Exactly.
There you go.
That's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to kind of sum things up a little bit, Operation Zephyr is awesome. It's going to be cool. And I think one of the reasons that it appealed to me when I first saw it, this is before I even knew Eric at all, was that, oh yeah, that's like the Wizard of Oz. And it actually didn't say that anywhere. I think I first saw it in IndieCron. But I just looked at the characters and it was like, oh, I get it. Like Dorothy, but it's like some kind of post-apocalyptic like military thing. And so I'll be honest, that appealed to me more than like, oh, the Wizard of Oz needs to be retold again.
Right,
you know?
right. And, you know, we've
It's
thought,
the original part.
Yep.
We've thought about that as not even marketing it as an Oz book.
Yeah.
And just
Doesn't even need to be. You know, let it be a
doesn't.
Easter egg for people.
I don't think it does, but I mean, that means we'd have to go back and rewrite some stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, I don't know where that leads us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Well,
that thought had crossed my mind of like, do we even need to say it's about Oz? I mean, we could probably even still keep the characters because we don't. He called her. I forget what he called her in the script. I have to look it up. But like his hit, like we have her father in the book who's not in the book. There's a whole lot going on. It's not just girl on the farm, aunt and uncle, you know, whisked away to magical land through tornado, wicked witch, flying monkeys. Like we have some of these things, but they're twists. They're turned on their ear. Like they're not witches. They're AI constructs that control things and war with one another. And they're not, you know, there's a whole lot going on. So,
well, it's kind of like the Lion King is just Hamlet. It's exactly like the same. It's the same thing, but with animals in Africa.
Disney, boy, oh boy, Disney's so incredibly famous for taking advantage of public domain. They pretty much built their empire on it.
Yeah.
You know, it's so there is a lot to do. But the thing is that you look at that and you go, okay, well, Alice in Wonderland, there's Disney's version, but then there's also that public domain version. But the thing is, if you start messing with the Disney elements and the designs and all that stuff, Disney will come down on you for it. So even though, yes, Alice in Wonderland or whatever else is public domain, you know, watch what kind of version you're using. So that's why I think also we're seeing a ton of different things where Disney's entering the live action scope, where people want to know, well, why are there so many different, you know, why are the characters going to look different or this and that, whatever. Well, it's more likeness rights and trademarks for Disney to own.
Yeah.
You know, so if anything, if they can throw money at it and literally make a different version of every single thing, then they own them all. And then it squeezes, you know, any kind of creator into going, well, what am I left with? How much is it actually public domain at that point?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sierra Whiskey says, is this Peter Simeti? Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
No, it's me.
It's just, Eric learned a new impression.
It's just a new impression.
Yeah, Eric's getting really good.
He's getting good.
Throwing his voice and
is.
talking at the same time.
Yeah, he's also figured out how to make the stream like pop up on two different faces, OBS or something. He figured it out. OMG.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Sierra Whiskey, made my night.
That's awesome. Yeah, public domain characters. So here's a question. I don't know that there's an answer or that anybody has an answer for this, but I throw it out there anyway. What about like urban legends that you cannot really trace back to a single copyright holder? I'm thinking of like Slender Man, for instance, like any creepy pasta stuff that's out there. I have no desire to write any of those, but or like Bigfoot, Bigfoot is a myth, it's not really a story. It's like all this kind of stuff that is they're in comics all the time.
Mhm.
But there's, I guess, because there's not, you can't trace it to anybody directly. I'm assuming that's the answer, so we'll just kind of go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
There's
like,
no single origin
yeah,
point.
exactly. Yeah, you can't really trace it to people. So
It's a medium almost.
yeah, it's a crazy gray area with all that kind of stuff, which is just turns into just whatever, everyone can use it.
Yeah. Kind of like floating cities, I'm learning that's becoming really, really popular.
But then at the same
On
time, though,
Indiegogo.
you do have this is again where it differentiates with what trademark is. Trademark is basically just shorthand for this represents this thing. So you could have a trademark on Bigfoot, and it represents your brand of shoes, your brand of cars, your brand of tires. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you own that word, and it doesn't necessarily mean that no one else can trademark that for their own line of products.
Isn't trademark more like this is our logo?
This is our thing that represents what we do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So they could have multiple, again, like DC will own all of their characters' logos and names, even though like you don't just get one.
Yeah, logos, symbols, names. They come up with something like a Batmobile, a Batarang, whatever. They could trademark that as well if they want, the design of those things. So there's all kinds of things at play. I mean, even the whole thing with Captain Marvel and Shazam and Fawcett and all that in DC and the ownership, and then Marvel swooping in and buying the trademark on Captain Marvel, then DC has to switch to using it as Shazam, but they can still refer to him as Captain Marvel in the books. And it's complicated, but at the same time, it does make sense to a certain degree if you just accept the law for what it is. Because if you start really, and you could do this with any kind of law. That's the thing, is that some laws are not logical, but time plays out, and judges and courts rule based on the way the time is going in the world. But it's always going to be interpreted by a judge. So we can sit here and ponder about public domain all day long, and what trademark means in copyright. And all you need is that one judge that comes along that thinks it means something else entirely and interprets it different, and they start to set a precedent. And then that can be used in the next court case to establish a claim or a counterclaim. So all this kind of stuff is, when people mess with it, you're kind of going down the rabbit hole. And it depends, do you want to go down that rabbit hole, or do you just want to make your own thing? Most people just want to make their own thing and live in peace.
Right, yeah. Right. Yeah, A Man in Lunacy says Slender Man is trademarked due to the movie. Yeah, so it would be the movie's version. Well, I don't know, actually. I don't know how that works. Could another company make a movie called Slender Man because of I don't know. I'm no lawyer. And then Dark Admiral March here says, so does this mean I can produce my own original graphic novel called Peter Samedi and Bigfoot Go to White Castle?
Okay.
sounds like you're a go. That would be awesome, actually.
Hey, you want to know a fun fact about my hometown?
Yeah.
White
Bigfoot?
Castle was, I live in Wichita. White Castle was invented here. We have no White Castles here.
Wow.
Yeah. White Castle started here. And I don't even know if I've seen a White Castle.
I lived in Michigan for a while, and they were everywhere there, but they're not in Utah. I don't understand the appeal.
We also don't get in and out here.
Oh yeah, we just got in and out. Again, I don't get it. I think like people, there's something to be said for growing up on it or something, but I'm Like, this is it.
Yeah. See, if I want White Castle, I can go to the local grocer and go to the freezer section, and they have frozen ones that you can. They have frozen sliders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they taste the same. Yeah,
I'm sure they taste exactly the same.
yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Pop them right in your easy bake oven, and you're golden.
Yep, and burp it up for the next week.
Yeah.
By the way, this is way off topic, but we got an air fryer. Holy cow, those things are awesome.
I've heard they're amazing. So, like, what are you cooking in it? Have you done
Just
it like
fries. Just fries.
fries? Okay.
Just frozen or Ida, trademark French fries. And I thought it was going to be complicated, but no, you just dump them in the basket, and you hit go, and it's like
It's
great.
magical.
Yeah, it's magic.
Yeah.
I should do a comic book about it.
They're not greasy either. Or
No,
they
they're not. You don't have to cook
but
them in
it's-
oil, and
but it's
they're way
crunchy?
faster than cooking them in the oven.
Yep.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Brave
that's
little air fryer.
yeah. It's like the toaster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't try to cook your
Yeah.
fries in a toaster. That's the moral of the story.
Yeah. That would be weird. I've been using a toaster a lot lately because we have no kitchen cabinets. We have
Toast
no-
again, Dad?
No
Okay.
no counters. Yeah.
I don't like toast anymore.
Yeah, or the grill outside.
Oh yeah,
Um,
there you go.
I'm going to change gears here just a little bit from public domain because I know we solved all the world's problems, but it is a really interesting topic. And
We really opened up a can of worms here with White Castle. I'm sorry.
it is chat freaking out.
Chat's going insane. Air fryers, things taste like garbage. White Castles are only good fresh. Convection ovens are the best. I mean, this is the new
This is very controversial. This
Yeah.
is Fryergate, you guys.
Firegate, exactly.
Fryer.
Brought to you by Robinhood.
Okay, sorry. On that tangent, my only experience with White Castle was eating. There was this challenge. It was a stupid teenager thing to do, but you buy one of those Crave cases that comes with like 30 sliders, and you have to share it with one person. So you eat 15 in one sitting, like within a certain time period. That was my experience. I did that, and it was a terrible idea.
Yeah, it's a bad
You
idea.
had 6 and your friend had 24.
It was bad. Yeah. Yeah, I ate all 15 of my half.
Oh boy.
The important thing is you're here to tell the tale.
Barely. Barely. Yeah, I can't eat White Castle again. I still have nightmares about it. It was
Wake up
like
in cold sweats,
I'm
and your
trying to
sweat
think.
smells like White Castle.
Yeah, it was like I was 19 when I did that.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was bad. Speaking of I'm trying to
Speaking
think
of night sweats,
night sweats or worms, parasites, I don't know. Earthworm Jim. So I just got an announcement, an update. This was through Bigfoot Bill that I saw the update, but it was about Earthworm Jim, and Doug T. Naples' Earthworm Jim comic is really close to surpassing Icarus and the Sun. So if you look at Icarus and the Sun, 500,096, and Earthworm Jim is at 500,048, and I could probably refresh this and maybe
548,000.
548,000, 550,000. There we go.
I think those White Castle murders went to your head.
I know. I'm super out of it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is totally gonna happen.
Oh, it's gonna crush it.
It's insane because the rate at which comic books are topping like the number one spot is just increasing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This says a few things to me. One is that more and more people are comfortable with crowdfunding enough that they're going to go and just back something on Indiegogo, and especially in comics.
Well, I think Earthworm Jim's a special case.
Well, yes, that too. Again, this is intellectual property in action, owning your own thing.
Yeah. He's just got for all I understand. Now I am lettering it. That's as far as it goes for me. I don't have any inside scoop. But as far as I understand, he's got the license to do this. He doesn't like own it again.
Oh, so he's licensed it. So he sold it. I don't know all the details, but he sold the right. He lost the rights somehow. but now he's
Somehow, yeah.
licensing it to do the comic.
Or at least he has the rights to do the comic and only the comic.
Yeah. Well,
either way, I'm happy to be a part of it. So
yeah, you are lettering it.
I
Have
am.
you already started lettering it? Is this one?
Oh, dude, I've got 50 some pages done.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna be working on that. I got all caught up to him, and then I send all my pages to the flatter, and then she goes to Catherine. Radka is the flatter, and Radka sends them to Catherine, who's I don't know if you watch his streams or you go back and rewatch any of his streams, you can see her coloring. The pages are gorgeous. She is doing a fantastic job. So yeah, I am a small cog in the wheel, but
Yeah.
it's funny because I tried to celebrate when I got the gig, right?
Yeah.
I was like telling people that I've known forever or known for a few years that are roughly my age, maybe even a little bit younger. Like, I'm going to be lettering Earthworm Jim. And they're like, oh, that's great. What's Earthworm Jim? It's like, you didn't grow up with a Sega Genesis or an NES.
Really?
NES, did you? Like, it was unfortunate that I couldn't revel. I wanted to revel, and it was just me in my own room drinking alone.
Woohoo!
Yay!
Party!
I need new friends, is what it's told me.
I remember Earthworm Jim mainly from the cartoon, though. That was
voiced by Homer J. Simpson.
Oh yeah.
That's weird.
Earthworm
I guess
Jim,
it was just
soil heat
a bigger impact on me as a kid than others.
Well, enough people that it's selling. Well, so I've been on Facebook sporadically. I don't get on there much, but it seems like every time I get on there, I see an ad for Earthworm Jim.
Yeah, he's
he-
blasting it out.
Facebook ads, and the thing is that people are like, "Oh yeah, I played the video game," and
Yep.
so
that's
they're
why
buying
it's
the book.
over 500,000. That's not the only reason, but that's a big part of it.
Yeah, it's crazy. But then Icarus and the Sun is original. Well, technically that's Greek mythology, or based on it. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still original story, and it did it. Cyberfrog obviously is well. There were comics from the '90s, I guess, too, but I think it has less to do with that and much more to do with Ethan Van Sciver presently.
Yeah. The craziest thing about these campaigns, especially this Earthworm Jim one and all the other ones that are bringing in huge amounts. When I see that, and it's like a number like 550,000, and it's a $25 book, all I could think is if they were to earn and take in 550,000 from distribution sales, after actually what you get, not gross.
Yeah.
He would have had to sold over 55,000 graphic novels.
Wow.
And that's unheard of. That's not even something that you're going to see any big two graphic novel come close to in a given month. So when people kind of champion the modern comics distribution system, I'm like, really? Because if Doug had taken the book straight to Diamond, maybe would have sold 3,000-4,000, maybe.
Well, he's at 6 right now.
Yeah. So that alone.
I don't want to open up a whole nother conversation here, but I feel like asking.
Fast food.
I'm feeling frisky. Is there a rebound for comics? Or is it dying? Like everybody's like, comics are dying, comics are dead. Is there a rebound? Is there a point where, not that you can define it, but do you see that is it going to go away? Or I feel like they're always going to be there, but will they ever be as big as they once were? I just need the short answers.
No.
Okay. That's it, folks. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Well,
I would love to say yes. I really would.
Yeah.
But the way things are going and that nothing's changing and that no one's really, the saddest thing is no one's acknowledging anything needs to change.
Yeah.
So no. If they start to acknowledge that it needs to change and they start to get actually fed up, and then and complaining turns into finding solutions, then yes, absolutely. The market's ready for it. People are ready.
Well, right now they're just a vehicle to get IPs into Hollywood.
Exactly. Yeah.
So-
And as long as they're going to be treated that way, absolutely not. Comics are going to continue to decline. But comics will continue to grow in these other avenues. And companies might not necessarily be thirsty for innovation, but creators definitely are. And the savvy ones that are getting good at getting the word out there and have something of quality to offer are going to succeed and hopefully inspire others to do the same.
Well, I had the conversation with somebody earlier today about the current industry, and to me, I'm like, comics is a medium. I don't know. I realize they're the same industry, but it almost feels like it's a tale of two cities. Like there really are two different tale of two industries.
Yeah.
There's the current industry that's been around for years, and it's undeniable that there are problems. A lot of problems. I've talked about them all the time. But at the same time, like some of this, again, like another comic book is now poised to be the next top crowdfunding comic book. It's insane after just such a short period of time. There are, I don't know, indie comics are thriving. So to me, I'm like, like Aldis I see in the chat says it's dying in its current form. And I think that's why the more that we're trying to do other things outside of what has already been done or searching for ways to keep the medium viable, and people still love comics as a medium.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like Peter, you announced today on Twitter, I'm assuming it's fine because you announced it pretty publicly, but that you were pitching to 7-Eleven to have your books there. That to me is amazing. That's revolutionary. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I don't know.
Yeah, it was cool. I got their contact and it like a couple days ago, and it worked out nice that I managed to send it off today. And I didn't even realize I was sending it on 7-Eleven until I checked Twitter, and I'm like, oh, 7-Eleven day, it's trending. I'm like, that's kind of funny. Hopefully that's some nice kismet right there.
Hey, I don't have 7-Elevens here, so
don't.
How about you reach out to like Quick Trip?
We got into Sheets. I don't know if you've got those.
Nope. Don't have that either.
We reached out to a bunch. I've reached out to almost every major chain in the past year. 7-Eleven just started to want to take on more and varied product. So hopefully Altern is one of them. That'd be great.
Hopefully we'll bring back the arcade machine.
That's
man.
Yeah. Arcades have been coming back in a different form too. I don't know like if it's that big, but you see those adult arcades where it's all nice and they've got food there and they've got a bar or whatever.
Buster's?
What's that?
Like a Dave and Buster's?
Well, like not as corporate, I guess, but okay. I mean that's an example. But yeah, there are all these like little
like indie arcade.
Okay, like the arcade bar kind of thing.
Yeah, and they're anyway. Yeah, it's like that. It makes sense. I actually go to the arcade. I take my kids to the arcade several times a year. I don't know, probably four to 6 times a year, something like that. I think they're fun. I wish they would come back. But comics, it's one of those things. Like I don't know, finding obviously what has been done is not working the same way. So I don't know. Like Alterna, I love that you guys are doing something about it and being reactive and proactive. It's important, I think.
Well, I think we're seeing in comics in particular, at least this is what I'm seeing a lot of. I'm seeing a lot of companies in particular that are trying to force the reader into reading what they want them to read, as opposed to listening to the reader and then working in a compromise of like, okay, we'll give you a little bit of what we think you'll like, and we'll give you a little bit of what we know you'll like. It's kind of more, no, read it. We're putting it out. You have to read it.
You will like it.
And then it doesn't do well. And then they blame like some other factor.
It's like we're the customer in the pit, and the comic publishers are sending down a basket saying it puts the lotion on the skin.
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure we're on the same page here. Okay. Also, I've never heard of sheets.
You have no sheets, bed sheets. He just sleeps on a.
I'll sleep on a 1-count bed sheet.
Holy
What is
sheets!
the
You
rope?
haven't heard of sheets.
I've never. No, you said sheets. People are like, you've never heard of sheets? This place that you said when you were
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
I mean, it was spelt right. SHEETZ.
Yeah,
They're
don't
only in
know.
certain states, so it's okay
Really?
if Eric hasn't heard of them. They're not even in my state.
Man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
because I wanted to announce it. I wanted to save an announcement up for San Diego, but we started getting a bunch of people. Hey, I saw him at Sheets. I saw him at Sheets, and I'm like, well,
Oh.
there goes that. So we might as
You
well just
can't keep
announce
that.
it.
You can't keep the lid on that. That's out in the wild, man.
Nice. Are they doing like the newsstand editions, or are these like all the books?
Yeah, they're doing just the 2 newsstand editions, the ICYMI, which is a reprint line that has all ages and young adult, and then it came out on a Wednesday, which is the horror, sci-fi, fantasy ongoing anthology.
That's cool.
Putting miniseries out there, we tried doing that with newsstand. It doesn't work as well, and for obvious reasons. But I'm excited by it because it means we didn't even announce it, and we got people telling us I saw him there. So that's great. That right there shows me that we're getting them out there, and you got to meet the people where the people are, and people going to Sheets are going to see Alterna. Maybe pick them up, maybe buy them, but they'll be aware of them, and that's the biggest battle that any product faces, is just being seen.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're hidden in these caves off the highway, and that next to that weird liquor store that's got bars on the windows, and that shady chiropractor. That's where your comic book shop is. At least it's kind of how I feel.
Yeah. Mine, I want to tell you the hoops I had to get through to order an Alterna book through them. And part of it could be they had a new person there or something, but it was kind of a pain. I was like, really? Come on. But I did get it ordered, so it's not on the pull list. It's on special order.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh,
You're
special
making it
order
difficult for them.
Special order. Yeah.
which in diamond terms it means fat chance.
Does that mean they won't? I've never had anybody ever say that they were going to put it on special order. But if I don't get it, I'll just order it from you directly. But that's I don't know. So far,
Cross your fingers. Hopefully they get it. But yeah, that's tough. When you get the special order, or when you get the kiss of death, is the store will tell you it's on back order. That's not ever coming in. So
good to know.
Special order, you have a chance. So hopefully it happens for you.
Well, we'll see what happens. They had 1 issue of Midnight Mysteries there. It was like issue 2 or something. I was looking around. I was like, you have Alterna? They had the 1 book. So
did you buy it?
I mean, it was number 2. I bought a whole bunch directly from Alterna.
You're letting your boy down.
I know.
The answer is yes. I cleared out the stock.
That's true. The one copy. Yeah, I need the first one though. Like, doesn't that bother you? Like, I can't just start on number 2.
No, it doesn't bother me. I don't buy comics as
you buy the number 2, and you go, well, if they can't get the number 1, I can get it from Alterna directly.
That's true.
You just give Pete the old elbow and say, hey.
That's true. Yeah. Well,
that's not what he does. I'm just kidding, people.
Ordering direct. Ordering direct works too. But yeah, I was just like, man, I want the system to work.
Yeah. So do I, desperately. But yeah, there's so many different factors. Going back to Eric's question about, can the comic industry be thriving again? Especially, it should be. But there's so many different things at play. It goes beyond even just the major publishers.
Yeah.
There's
a lot competing for your dollar out there these days that there wasn't there.
Right.
Yeah.
Dynamo says Eric is 100% right. Even if he's a heathen in a state with no convenience stores.
I have convenience stores. They just don't sound all that convenient. And why am I right? What did I say?
I think it was just, I don't know. You're just right, period.
Oh, okay. I'll accept that. That is true. And since I said it's true, that means it's right.
That also means you're a heathen too. So
Oh,
there's that detail.
I better inform my church that their sound guy is
Heathen.
he's a
Um,
heathen.
buying buying the one alternate issue. I should just show
Oh,
up. I
yeah.
will buy every alternate book you have
Now
in
you have
here.
to.
Everyone. I will. Maybe I'll make a video about it. That would be kind of fun, actually.
Well, if it's a Midnight Mystery #2 issue as well, that's a first print. We're going back to print, so that's going to a second printing. So
worth some money too.
Yeah, worth a little bit. Worth a little bit. It's always funny when I see these things on eBay getting sold for more, especially because we sell so many direct. I'm like, does no one ever look up to see if they could buy it direct? I know that this isn't. We're an oddity for the most part with that. Most publishers don't sell direct. They're starting to though. A lot of indie publishers.
Should. I think it would help.
But yeah, they definitely do, especially in this market and with the current distribution system.
Do you feel beholden to keep the current system going? To me, it seems
I
like
wrestle with that. Yeah.
Yeah, like I often hear. I'm a small business owner outside of the YouTube channel. This is I don't know, really small potatoes. But to me, I hear that argument a lot. They're like, oh, your local business, you got to buy local, even if you can't get what you want, and like all these other things, because it's just this obligation that you have.
I'm sorry, but local does not equal good.
Right. And I don't know, I'm a capitalist first and foremost, so I would want good local stuff. But if it's not working, then that's how capitalism works. You know what I mean? You go and get what you want, and they would react. And again, I love small comic shops, but yeah, there has to be a way for them to, I don't know.
Well, you got to give value to your customer, you know, especially this day and age. People are expecting things even like, and not even just the basics of a hello, and just, you know, friendly, hey, you know, how can I help you? Is rare sometimes. But even things like having a reward program, giving a slight discount if people pre-order, you know, all that kind of incentive that lets you know that you're valued as a customer, that goes a long way for people, and it'll deter people from going elsewhere, you know, and that's something that a local business can do.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there's stuff you can do. Having said that, though, I would not start. I'm not starting a comic shop. That sounds like a tough business.
I would assume it would be. The thing is that there are 2 comic shops in my hometown, maybe 3. There were more back in the day. Let me go to Comic Shop Locator and double check. I've been to both of them. If there are 3, I can't think of the third one. So there you go. They are like, I see these. There are 3. None of them are close to me. They're all at least 10 or 15 minutes away. That's a problem for me. And none of them, like, you see like these great stores that have like good lighting and clean floors and long boxes that are not just stacked on a table. They're actually neatly, like, well organized. That's important.
Yeah.
Like, my comic book store, at least the one that I would frequent the most, is you walk in and it's the front gates, the front door, it opens right into the stinky teenagers playing their Magic the Gathering or whatever.
It's like someone's garage.
It's really not great. Yeah.
You got to set up like a store.
Yeah. So it's like you walk straight in, and then they're doing their Yu-Gi-Oh whatever, or they're playing Pogs. I don't know what the kids are into these days. But you have to walk past all that. You don't have to walk through it, which is nice, but it's like right in front of you. You have to walk past all that and then around the corner to get to the books.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, that's probably where their money is, honestly. So it's just, I would like a nice, clean, well put together, well thought out store that doesn't turn me away when I open the front door. Yeah.
Well, and so I've said this before. I'm one of those nerds that likes to play Magic the Gathering. And
get off of this stream right now.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I like it, but I will I do it with my brother sometimes, but we'll drive a lot farther to go to a store that's clean
Yeah.
because there's a lot of stinky ones around. It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll go to a clean one that has like room and like ventilation, and they just keep it clean.
Is it
It's
in the
a
back?
big deal.
Is the gaming in the back? Or is it
Yes,
right there in the front?
it's in the back.
It's
Yeah.
hidden. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can see it, but it's
Right, but it's like game room this way.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
I just feel like I don't know. Also, I've never played Magic the Gathering, but all the art looks great on the cards.
Yeah, it's really fun. I quite like it actually.
I had a good conversation when I started to paint with one of these Magic artists. Him and his wife were both Magic card artists. Like that's what that was their living. I was
Yeah.
like, this is amazing. I want to do this forever. And then I just decided comics was more feasible. I'm a smart man.
Yeah. Well, hey, you're making a living, comics, right?
That's
Well,
true. I am.
you're doing it. Yeah.
Do it.
Let's see. Danny Agent 87 says Blood Realm #1 first printing is going for $20 on eBay. Really?
Yeah, when it came out for a while there. It's on the third printing now. But yeah, it's crazy to see some of that. It really is. But I mean, the reseller market is a fickle thing. So we're not going to start, because we got suggestions. You should start upping the price of the comics because the reseller market is huge on it. And no, that's okay. Let it continue to be huge and drive demand and whatever. We'll just make more printings when we sell out.
Yeah. Yeah, just sell more. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any books that are really worth that much money. There are a few I want though. But I had the Into the Spider-Verse. These are the last Marvel comics I got. The Spider-Verse comics, and I got the Into the Spider-Verse one, and there's the first. Can't even remember, was Spider-Gwen, the first appearance of her, and that book went up to like $80.
Yeah.
I sold that thing so quickly.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not. I don't care about it. I'll take the $80. So I have no idea what it's at now. $80.
$80.
And it had been out for a month. That was it. Went up to $80. Yeah.
I don't look at. I'm not like a collector like that. Like if I follow artists, and then it's like I just need it in my library to always look at and take inspiration from. So I wouldn't think about going through and going and seeing how much can I get out of this. Maybe I should when times are tough and the lettering cakes dry up. Somebody pull open those long boxes and hit eBay.
All right, guys. Always a blast talking to you. I got a jet.
All
But
right.
thank you guys. Yeah, I got a jet.
Alterna must be doing great, man.
Yeah, we're doing great.
Oh, excellent. Wow.
Cool.
See
Thanks,
you
Peter.
later.
Appreciate
Have
it.
a good night, guys.
Later.
See ya. I'm gonna catch up on this one too. Dynamo says the guy who runs my local comic shop is a weird creep and plays Second Life and online dating sims on his gaming PC in full view of customers. I didn't know that Second Life still existed.
He is actually, that's his first life. His second life is running the store.
Oh, First Life. All right. That makes sense now. I've never played it, but
Me either.
yeah. Well, yeah, Alterna Jet has a jet confirmed. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's basically the end of the stream anyway. So he jumped out at a good time. But before we go,
We were just getting started.
we're just getting started.
Mhm.
Well, if you want to go over something, we can do that. But first, Flying Fortress, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, but you can call me Eric. See what I did there? See, I got dad jokes for days. Flying Fortress is doing great. It's moving right along. It's footloose and fancy free. We are at 502 backers, 26,183. And I've sort of, I wouldn't say pumped the brakes, but I'm still like in funding mode, but I've sort of backed off a little bit and haven't been hitting it as hard. Once I hit 25 and 500 backers, I felt this big, like, I did it. Like there was that internal goal, right? Like the number goal on the campaign was $4,000, which if I had only hit that, I'd be in trouble. that was me trying to play into the algorithm for like trending and all of that. You know,
Yeah.
you know the game. But no, we're doing well. I found out that the printer I'm going to use will also be able to print everything I need, because their website's like, we can print your books, and it's just books. I was like, are you guys capable of doing more? I assume you are, but you want to make sure. So outside of the patches, depending on price, of course, outside of the patches, I should be able to get everything from one source. So the bookmarks, the posters, the postcards, all of that. So that's really good. That's that should save me on like shipping, right? Because if it's all coming in one, well, I guess it would probably be like 16 boxes, or I don't know how, I don't know what to expect.
Yeah,
because
a pallet or something.
Yeah, there's going to be a pallet, and I think it's way bigger than what I might be expecting. Because given where the campaign is, it's going to be open for another couple months and in demand while I wrap everything up. I'm probably going to end up buying 1,000, ordering 1,000 books, and that's a lot.
You don't want to do less than that, I don't think. Anyway.
No, I mean, because I'm at about 500 books now, right? So I don't want to order 500 because then that'll be troublesome, and 750 seems too close.
Yeah. Well, and then to go from 750 to 1,000, you're not really talking about that much more money.
No,
because the price per book drops so much.
The price per book drops quite a bit. It's the overall cost, including shipping. The difference is, I think, less than $1,000 extra for 250 more books.
Yeah, it's like I could get if I stop a campaign right now today, I could probably get 1,500 books and be okay. But getting 2,000 books, it's like really not, like it gets even less so. So
yeah,
I'm like, yeah, I'm getting at least 2,000 books.
That's
and
crazy.
then
But
I
yours
can
are a lot thinner than mine, so your stack of boxes is probably about the same height as mine.
probably, or smaller. Yeah. They'll be, I don't know. I don't even know what that looks like, but I keep seeing fan art and stuff. So I'm kind of tempted to add more pages just to put more fan art in. That would kind of change my quotes and everything, but probably not by much.
Yeah, I don't want to exceed my 252 page count. So we'll see if a fan art section is feasible. I have a pre-press guy lined up and everything. So like things are going good. We've got editors of it. We're firing all cylinders right now. The cog and the machine is like, hey, dummy, get to work. You know, like I'm still like in this like, can I find the I'm overthinking the font, which is stupid because here's the deal with a little inside baseball. You want to pick the font that goes with the art. It's not as simple to do when my art drastically changes from page 1 to page 200. So there's not an even, it's not consistent.
Right. You need a different fonts or one that can work. Good luck with that. I suck at picking fonts.
Yeah. I feel pretty good at it. Obviously I need to be as part of my job, but this one's given me a bit of a, because it'll look great on like, stuff from chapter 7 and chapter 8, but then you put it in chapter 1, you're like, it doesn't really work very well. But I do want to have one unifying look. So, and the problem with fonts is the ones you have to pay for, you can't test. You have to drop the money on it.
Oh.
And then if it doesn't work, well, it's good. I mean, it's business expense for me anyways, but it'd be nice just to get the right one right away and call it a day.
Are you getting fonts from, is it Blambot? Is that the
Blambot? And I've used Blambot fonts. I've used Comicraft fonts. Just
okay.
You gotta pick the right one. Blambot's cheaper. They also have free options for those of you who want to letter your own books. They have free options.
Use InDesign or
no? I letter in Illustrator.
Illustrator, okay.
Yeah. I also letter in Photoshop for Earthworm Jim.
Just for Earthworm Jim, huh?
Yeah, just for Earthworm Jim. Maybe some other ones because it's a different process, but it's doable. I lettered 1 or 2 issues of Flying Fortress in Photoshop just because I didn't have Illustrator at the time.
Yeah.
A lot of inside baseball here, but
yeah.
How's Downcast?
Good. got another page. It's been kind of speeding up, but the thing is, the pages. Okay. So Damien, the colorist, he does like if I look at his portfolio, he does when he does pages with lighting that's coming through the window,
Hmm.
it looks amazing. Like I can tell that that's his thing. So now I've noticed that the scenes where there could be windows, um, uh, Nacho's adding windows and adding where the shadows and the lights go and stuff. And I already know, like I see the inked pages, and I'm
Hmm.
like, I know that Damien's gonna make that look sick because that's what he does. Just like this, I don't know the way he does. It's just so moody. So I'm really excited to see. I don't know the color. This creative team is really cool. I'm really glad that I got Damien on board too.
Yeah, a good colorist can really make things shine. Let me just, can I show off one thing? I'm waiting on one more postcard, but I got the colors in it. If you've been on my Twitter this evening, you've seen it, but let me pull this up. We've got Matt Weldon's color in on his piece of, I'm going to go with Darling Dorothy.
Oh, I'm excited.
And this is colored by Pressy. He's the guy that colored the Ted Lehman's print, and which is also on a T-shirt at my crypto fashion store. Um, so check that out. So yes,
Awesome.
will this load? There we go.
Man, that's so cool.
It's so good when the colors come in, it just turns right into magic, pure
Right.
magic.
Yeah. Man, so it's Prezi? Prezi?
Pressy or Pressy,
Prezi.
P
Yeah,
R
that's the
E S S Y.
okay.
That's his nickname.
Yeah, man, he's got a variety of style, it seems like, that he can
Yep,
do.
I agree.
That,
Hopefully, he let me just say hopefully he can consistently pick one of those varieties and stick with it and not you know he's not all over the
yeah,
place.
yeah.
I have seen pieces that he's coloring the way I want Oz to look, and a lot of the pieces that where the line art looks how I want it to look, he's colored it the way I feel like Oz should look. So I feel like he can be consistent in whatever style
Yeah.
that's going for. So I'll find out soon enough once I start handing him Oz pages. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
this is Matt Weldon.
Yeah, Matt Weldon's amazing too.
Yeah.
He draws, I don't even know how to describe it, but it looks like a real person.
Hmm.
Like I don't know. I cannot figure out what it is, but
Well, I don't know what's going on with the hair over here. It's like it's kind
oh
of
yeah,
wicked.
that's true.
It's cool to look at, but it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It looks cool. I guess that
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what's
Yeah.
important, right? That's his job. He's an artist. Make it look cool.
Asuka says like she's like 6 weeks pregnant. What's up with Elton's women's stomachs? It's realistic though.
Yeah.
Like it's not, you know, I don't know, like yeah,
Yeah.
looks
So
good. Looks good to me.
I think it looks great. Yeah, yeah. Also, you guys, if you want this um, postcard, you got to back the campaign. Flying Fortress Remastered on
Yeah.
what's it called? Indiegogo. That's what it's called. Yeah. There you go.
Indiegogo. You're gonna catch up to me.
I'm
You're gonna
trouncing you, man. You better watch out.
could be. Yeah. My campaign has been stalled completely. And I
Uh,
know like I could go on other people's I'm not promoting it that hard either.
you're really not.
I'm also not doing like the individual videos. They do get a lot more views.
Hmm.
I'm starting to get like more analytics and stuff to look at, and I don't know. It's tough. I don't understand how people like Nick Rekieta can build up their live streams to be so big. I don't know. I just don't get it.
I just don't think we have the Ricada magic. But
Yeah, there's something you can't. It's called I don't know charisma, whatever
it's
it
called
is.
early onset alcoholism.
Well, that too. Yeah, that
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grease the wheels. Grease something.
Yeah, and I don't drink, so that's not an option.
Yeah.
It would be like Mountain Dew over here. That's what it'd be. Yeah, be a drunk lawyer and court weebs.
Weebs.
Yeah, there's something to that too. I
There
think
is something to that.
comics is a small niche.
Yeah, so that's the thing that I'm dealing with. See, this is just turning into the post. This is turning into the post live stream
I
conversation.
know. This is just us talking.
This is what we talk about after you guys are all gone.
Yeah.
I know that I have talked to you about this before, but like I want to
Yeah.
do the channel, but I don't want to do comic stuff.
You want to do your you want to do like games or something.
I do. I want
right?
to do games, but it's like I barely have time to play. So how can I?
I know.
You know what I mean?
All this stuff, it takes so much time, and that's what I'm finding too with maintaining a YouTube channel. It's a lot of work to be that consistent. And I've found ways to cut corners and things. But like tonight we started way late because when you're live, the downside is stuff happens. When you're pre-recording it, it doesn't matter. I just stay up later and to get it done. So there are pros and cons about all of it.
Yeah. Also, Ted Lehman just said, Mike. Mike talked about how he put Cyberfrog and Earthworm Jim in the sentence right below the title. It changed the analytics. I put EVS in the title of 2 of my live streams, and they got over 100 more views each than any other of my other live streams.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a secret. Anybody that's starting a YouTube channel, if you seriously, you put Ethan Van Sciver in the title of your video, you will get far more views.
Yep.
It's insane. Like nobody else. And I've tried it with like Richard C. Meyer, Diversity in Comics, Mark Wade, like anything else. Ethan Van Sciver, you put his name in the title. And that's why I thought we could do a live stream. This would be a bet. If we did a live stream on Monday that says like called In Defense of Ethan Van Sciver, I guarantee you we'll have at least 150 people in the chat watching just to see what is going on. But it's crazy.
Yeah, Dynamos says put Vic Mignona. I can't say that name, by the way.
Yeah, I always want to say Mike Mignola.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the same guy. Allegedly. You have to say allegedly so they can't sue you.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I've done a couple Vic videos and they get some views. Problem is I don't know anything. I don't know anything about it. So all the commenters are like, you're a total idiot. You don't know. I don't know. I'm just reading the article, like what I read. That's what I know about it. So I don't know. It'd be something like I wish, like I saw as that started happening, like this is a jumping on point, but I'm not qualified to do it. It would take way too much. It really is. And that's why that Umbrella guy and Yellow Flash, they struck that iron when it was hot and they got it. So
do it.
Yeah. The other thing too is some people think, while we're talking YouTube, some people think you can make like I hate this person YouTube videos and it's just going to be money for you. That's not the case.
I think it'll be money when I finally make my I Hate Sweetcast video.
Oh, that could get some views.
That's gonna do it, man. We got to start that beef. You need the beef to get the cheddar.
Yeah, so we got to do like this is how you do a title. You say the problem with Sweetcast, something like that.
Yeah,
because they want to know what the problem is, and then it's like, well, you know, I don't know. He's got a thing behind him right here, the smoke detector. Whatever, like
his room is haunted.
His room is haunted.
Mm-hmm.
His hairline is receding.
Yep.
I don't know, whatever. But yeah, that's how it works. The problem is you got to justify that title. But if you don't have good titles, if you just say, like, if you just accurately say what the video is about, it sounds so uninteresting. Nobody wants to watch it. It has to be interesting. I don't know. It's such a game. It really is.
There's a game that needs to be played. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, that game content has always been something that I've been interested in. I've just never really dove in. And my wife's like, "Why are you making comics? You spend all your money on video games." I'm like, but I love making comics.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I thought like, I don't know. Games would be hard to get into I've thought about doing Magic the Gathering. There's a big, healthy YouTube environment for that, and I know enough about it, but it's also a lot more competitive too,
Yeah.
which is the weird thing. And comics is getting competitive now. Like Comicsgate is jam packed with YouTube channels.
That's the problem. I feel like I need to separate myself from the comic book news, right? Even Ethan's channel was more Star Wars. That's how he got 100,000 subs.
Yeah, it wasn't comics that got him there.
Comics is you know, it is what it is. I mean, I'll make them as long as I'm allowed to, but you know, that's not how you build an audience per se. Not that I feel like I want to make this channel that is that reaches outside of comics to bring them in.
Yeah.
You know, it says, hey, by the way, I'm doing this really cool thing, and you can send money my way.
Well, and there are a lot of people, this gets overlooked a lot, but there are a lot of people that have said, like in my comment sections, even others, they are, you know, I'll see them in live chats. I've never bought comics before until Cyberfrog or until.
I got that tweet today. Let me find it. Tweet
Feels
deck,
good.
don't fail me now. By the way, Twitter was
Feels
down
good.
today, and I couldn't tweet about it. It was kind of annoying.
I didn't even notice.
It was down today.
Way too.
So I got a tweet. I posted something this 9 hours ago that said Flying Fortress #1. Or Flying Fortress has 1 week to go. Campaign ends on the 18th, and a link. And then I got a reply that said, "Glad I already supported. First indie comic I've ever bought, so I'm excited."
Yeah,
that's really cool.
It feels good. Yeah, I've had a few people say Downcast was the first Indiegogo comic or the first comic, period. A couple people said that to me. It's cool because I think there are people out there, potential comic readers. They're just not seeing comics, you know?
Yeah.
So you do have to branch out, but it's still hard. I don't know. Like, and I've tried to branch out a little bit from comics, and I don't know. If you get one video that does well, if you can find one single topic that does well, you just have to hit that and keep making videos surrounding that topic. And like that's honestly like Comicsgate. I made the one. I was just a political channel when I started. Most of those videos are deleted. I just started making videos. The Brett Kavanaugh hearing time, you know, when all that was going on, that annoyed me. So I made videos on that before Comicsgate, and then
I've seen some of your older stuff.
Yeah, it's not great, not great, but it worked. You know, that's how you get into it.
Yeah, Aaron Olson says Jason Brubaker has almost half my current video views because of his process and Q&A sessions. There are still niches to be found. That's true.
Yeah,
there are niches to be found. And I could do like a lettering series or something. But again, it's staying inside comics, and I want to pluck people from Fortnite and say, "Hey, this is a cool book," you know.
Well, and you have to give people a reason. And while we're talking about it, I don't know. Do you have to go, Eric?
No, man. I mean, I might have to go pee, but I don't have to go.
Okay,
I'm my own boss. I can.
I'm just looking this up. So if I look up like comic artist interview, I don't know. We'll just say that. And I used to go nuts looking up interviews and things from different comic artists.
You know what my favorite thing to do was comics giving a studio tours.
Oh yeah.
When they're like, "Oh, this is where the magic happens, and this is my drawing board, and over here are my 8,000 books and statues, and this is the Star Wars poster that's signed by George Lucas."
Right. So okay, no. Here, let's do a specific one. Sean Gordon Murphy, right?
Yes.
Gosh, I can't type. Gordon Murphy interview. Okay. Sean Gordon Murphy interview. The first thing that pops up has 6.9 thousand views, and it's been up for a year. That's insane. Most of my video, like if I went back, my late ones have been doing terrible. But yeah, I've got tons of videos that have far more views than.
Well, now wait a second. The ones below it, I can't really see very well. Does it say 10,000?
Yeah. Yes, this is 10,000. Again, a year ago, 10,000 views. This is Jim Lee's channel. Okay. So if Jim Lee can get 10,000 views on an interview with Sean Gordon Murphy, and that's it. that tells you something.
Yeah.
10,000 views is not a lot.
It's not a lot.
Okay, so if here, I'll show you my channel. If I go, I made a video about Sean Gordon Murphy.
Look at me. It's me.
There you are. We're
Look
live
at me.
right
I'm
now.
grabbing my breasts.
What are you doing?
I can feel that I'm very convicted about something, and I'm pouring out and showing my emotion through my hand gestures.
Yeah. Let's see. Critics like Gordon Ramsay. Yeah, let me
Sean
see.
Gordon Ramsay.
Look here I have 6,000 views on one about Mark. 6,000 views is nothing. Okay, it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look up Mark
Something
Wade,
to me. I don't know if I've even cracked 1,000 views on anything.
yeah, 1,000 used to be my like benchmark, and now it has.
Heck, I still need 1,000 subscribers. So all of the thousands of people watching right now need to subscribe to my YouTube channel.
That's right. We should do some streams on your channel too to build that sucker up.
Yeah, we should.
We should.
Hogging all the views over here.
What's the deal? See, look at this. Ethan Van Sciver slapping SJWs with legal action. I guarantee this video got demonetized. 13,000 views 4 months ago. And it's because there's a screaming lady's face on it, and it says slapping SJWs in it, and Ethan Van Sciver. That's just one example. And I'm not Jim Lee. Here's $10,000. Vic Mignogna gets a little help from super lawyer friends or something like that.
$10,000, huh?
Should I say dollars?
You said dollars.
I wish. 10,000 views. Yeah, let me see what's another 10. I don't have that many that are up in that range, but they're there. Where are they at? Yeah, most of these are 1,000. You can see that's generally my average, or a couple thousand, I guess, is probably average. Point is that there's more to it than just having clout, and this is why I think that YouTube's kind of the equalizer, because you can be a nobody. Scott Snyder, his channel, let's see. I want to go to his channel here. Scott Snyder, 1 month ago, 1.8 thousand views, 3,000 views, 2.1 thousand views. You can see, like, on average, oh, here we go, 641 views. None of these are amazing, you know, and it's not like, it's just like, I get it, he's got a job, but if you can figure out YouTube, then you have something over everyone else, you know, and you don't even have to have that much of it, but it is hard. I don't have it figured out. Well,
I'm just going to change all my content to Cyberpunk 2077. That way I can buy the collector's edition as a business expense.
Oh, there you go. See, now that's the thing. Buying, like, I make enough money, or I was, my ad revenue has less than halved.
Guys, you got to send in those super chats.
It's been rough. But like, it was like pretty steadily like, oh man, I could totally support like several crowdfunding comic books every month just from YouTube ad revenue. And just, if that's all you're looking for is a self-perpetuating hobby, like you've got your YouTube, and it'd be a business expense.
Yeah,
because you make a video about it. It's part of your video.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
So,
again, it all comes down to what's it called? I have limited bandwidth.
Yeah,
you know, it's the day, and to be, oh, look at this, we got
Ted Lehman, thank you. $2 super chat, that really helps. I appreciate that.
Lehman. By the way, you guys, people love this Ted Lehman. I gotta just drop a link in the chat. So the Ted Lehman's print of the Waist Gunner is on my Crypto Fashion store.
Yeah, drop that.
So check that out. It looks fantastic. But Tank Fair Art says you should just buy Cyberpunk 2077 anyways. I'm going to, but at the same time, it's like, should I do like? There would be so much production behind the scenes that I would have to do, because I feel like I would have to write it, and like if I were to do reviews or any of that, I want to be able to just do the thing once and not have to put in a lot of editing, because there's, like I said, I don't have all the time in the world to do it. So my focus would have to be either, well, because right now day job is lettering, night job is my own personal comic books. And sometimes night job is lettering as well, depending on deadlines. So then, whereas you have your day job, your night job was YouTube or is YouTube. So for you to do, you could shift gears and say, I'm just going to talk about, you know, the newest car rims from the latest rim manufacturers, and that's going to be the new Sweetcast channel. You have the time to do that type of research. And I understand that you had to change the format. That's why we're doing what we're doing. But for me, it's like, it would be like a third job.
Well, yeah. Well, I have 2 jobs already.
Yeah.
So like I have a full-time job. I have a part-time business that really picks up. It's seasonal. In the wintertime, it dies down. But right now it's in full swing. And then I have this, and then it's like writing comics and running crowdfunding campaign. But I don't know. It's like the whole process of making a book. I've thought about this a little bit. It's usually like you have a creative team. You're not doing it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like amazing at YouTube, but I think I've made some progress. You know what I mean? Like I've demonstrated I can do it. If I went back to making 10-minute videos and just kept doing it, I could still get 1,000 views per video and be advertising to 1,000 people every single video. It could happen. But I would be doing less live streams. But I don't know. But then it's like I don't have. The ideal would be if I could draw my own book and color the book and letter the book and promote the book, then I get all the money and then I could quit my job and just do this full time. But that's not reality. You know what I mean?
There are only so many Doug Knaples and David Petersons in the world, right? So David Peterson being Mouse Guard, like that's it. That's all he does is Mouse Guard.
Yeah.
And all Doug does is he makes his own graphic novels. And like, I would love to be there someday, but at the same time, it's like, I really tried Twitch there for a while, and I feel like going back to it. Just being I feel like I'm pretty good in front of the camera. I feel like I can entertain all right.
Yeah.
So, a lot of it just has to stick to it. And you got another super chat, by the way. So you got to tell people about them, otherwise they don't know about it.
Thank you so much. Metatron's Cube. Everybody get tips. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. $10. That's great. Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I feel like I'm also like begging for shekels. I don't know. But yeah, you're right. You do. It's just like selling anything. You have to mention it.
You let people know.
But I do appreciate those super chats. That really does help. This is why I don't know. Comics are changing. I see maybe my role in a comics creative team. Let's say, Eric, you and I are making a comic book. Okay, let's say this is happening. Okay. If I'm doing marketing and promotion, I think that's where my value is. I believe my value is also as a writer, but that still needs to be. People have to read the book first. You know what I mean? Like I still realize that has to be proven.
Yeah, you have to prove your. Prove your. There's an old grandpa phrase here that's not coming to mind. But, anyways, you have to prove to people that you're actually good at what you do.
Right. Yeah. Lay off Clint. Eric is mine. Uh-oh. Vaughn is calling dibs.
Yeah. Hey, somebody, I've heard the term Comicsgate whore thrown my way. You know what? If you're paying, I'm just saying.
Hey, I would never interfere in anything like that. That's awesome. I can only imagine how many projects do you have. I feel like I've got a lot of stuff coming, but again, it's like you can't. It's like it used to be the writer the writer was free. You write a project, you move on.
Yeah.
but nobody's hiring me to write anything. It's like I'm hiring myself to write it. So
Yeah.
I've got books, I've got scripts, but I can only move as fast as the Indiegogo campaign can go. You know?
True. But do you feel like you could balance that out with a different way? So like write a thing that you have hired some artist to do and put it out as a webcomic that's on Tapastic or something, or do another one that's on Kickstarter while you have an Indiegogo. Like there are other ways that you could kung fu this thing. And
it costs a lot of money up front. That's
true.
That's the problem. You know, find it, you know, and again, like I'm not complaining. I'm very grateful for everything. And I'm going to be, I just got to get Downcast finished and I'll have more money to allocate elsewhere. But yeah, it does become, this is the downside of crowdfunding, I think, is you're super limited.
You've got to really have that backlog. Like the turnaround time on Flying Fortress is going to be that compared to Oz.
Yeah.
Oz is going to take a while. I'm sorry to say, but it is. Unless I just wait and do the crowdfund next year. And while I'm working on it, you know, but then by the time the book's, you know, I launch it in, you know, say May or whatever, and I'm like, oh, by the way, it's done. Because I'm drawing it, Zeb is writing it, I'm lettering it, I don't have to hire a letterer. With the pay that I'm getting from my day job, I could pay the colorist. Like theoretically, I could do that. So, but even my writer's in the same boat you are. He's like, he's got a day job. He's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to write. And I'm like, I'm trying to get you out there, man.
Yeah.
So
the thing is, you can't write. You can't unless you're promoting it too, you know? And which is fine. And it's fun. Like I enjoy promoting it, but it is a lot of work and it doesn't, I don't know. I think we're still figuring it out. I'm not entirely sure that one book a year, like while that works for your boy Zach, he mentioned that in a video today. I'm not sure it works for me, at least not now.
If you make $100,000 to $400,000, it would work.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of cheddar. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot.
But that's also no sharing. I'm assuming here. I don't know. I'm assuming he owns all the intellectual property, and he's just paid. It's work for hire, and he knows he's gonna make a profit. He puts it out there. Yeah. Having said that, though, like Downcast has over 800 backers, and if the book was $25, the results would be very different. I don't want to charge $25 for it though. It's I think $15 was good.
48 pages.
Well, now it's 52 pages.
52
pages.
Yeah, again, as Von Klaus in the chat says, build the audience, sell them good books, you'll do fine. And that's the thing. Yeah. I got a tweet the other day, a private DM saying, hey, how did you do it? Like he's got a book on Indiegogo, and he's like, essentially it was like, how did you get an audience? Like how, there was a little bit more to it than that, but I was like, yeah, as I feel like I'm beating the same drum here, but that's the key, is the audience. And that's why I'm thinking like some sort of video game content. I was thought like art. See, there's some people are able to build it but it takes years. If you just stick to the art, like I can do that as an artist. If I just stick to the art, I could build it up over a couple of years and maybe be somewhere on the level of, not artistically, but like following wise, somewhere on the level of like what Elliot Fernandez does with his huge on Instagram. So I've thought about like, what if I do the flavor of the week in pop culture? Like if I were to do Stranger Things drawing within the next week or so and put that up on Instagram, and then, you know, I go on vacation and then whatever else comes out, you know, The Lion King or whatever, and just do those, whatever's the flavor of the week thing in video games, movies, whatever, and put that art up. That'll build an audience that way. So that's something I can do. And then I'll have original art to sell as well. So
yeah,
there's all of this stuff, but at the same time, it's like, how much it's time management.
Yeah.
And I may have enough time in the day to do all this stuff, but I've also got a family. I've also got, I try to, I've never been one to work out ever. Now I'm like, I've been going for like 4 or 5 months and I want to continue to do that. So that's, 3-4 hours out of the week that I'm not at the desk. There's dinner, there's family things, there's church, there's those impromptu, hey, we're going to hang out. I remember I have a friend in the industry. Sorry, I'm rambling a little bit, but I'm going somewhere. This is for you youngins out there. You don't have to be young per se, but if you are striving towards a goal, if you're striving towards, he was using this. He works at DC. I don't feel like I need to say his name. I don't want to name drop, but he was telling me one of the things he did when he was really trying to break in, and even when he first got started, before he got his exclusive at DC. The reason I don't want to say it is because I don't know if he's CG. We haven't talked in a while. Either way, but he's a good guy. I digress. He was like, you have to say no to your personal life for a while. So he was like, so like the birthdays and the dinners and all of that stuff, I had to be like, I can't, I got to work. But now he's like golden, right? So you go through that couple of years of putting in the effort, the sweat equity, whatever, and it pays off in dividends in the end. And the same goes for anything, right? So building that YouTube channel, if I were to go into the gaming scene and do reviews or news or whatever,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. But again, I'm not at a point in my life where I can say no to those things.
Yeah.
So then it's like, I guess I'll just have to say no to sleep. That's
well,
what it's like.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't watch TV anymore. Like
No.
ever. I don't watch TV. Yeah. And sometimes I feel like it. But
Yeah.
it's mainly just about, I just want to lay down. But yeah, you don't watch TV. Reading comics, it's kind of funny. We talk about comics a lot. I don't get to read as much as I used to because there's the goal of making the comic.
Yep.
And this is like, I've had a lot of people ask me about building a YouTube channel, and I get it. It's really frustrating. So I was turning 30. I was 29 and it hit me that my birthday was coming up and I was turning 30. And I thought, I wanted to do comics and write comics. I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure out a way to do it. And so I put in all this effort and I was submitting things and spending money and all this kind of stuff, and just nothing budged,
I have a similar.
It hurts. I get it. And
Yeah.
I see people on Twitter sometimes. I can feel their frustration. I remember being there. I'm 33 now. But I remember thinking like, I'm getting too old and I just can't do this. I don't know how people do it. It doesn't make sense.
I had that similar thing. So I started Flying Fortress. I think I would have been 26 when I started it. And I had always wanted to be a comic book artist, but I never really took it seriously because it was like, I would just draw in a sketchbook and do anatomy studies. And I was never really all that great at it. I still feel like I'm not all that great at it. But I had this goal in my mind. I was like, I wanted to be a published comic book artist by the time I was 30. So I was doing Flying Fortress, and technically it's self-published, but to me it wasn't real, right? It didn't count towards that goal. But when I turned 30, I'm 35 now. When I turned 30, I got in thanks to Peter Simeti. I actually was published in an it was an anthology. It was the first If anthology is what it was called.
Nice.
So I guess technically it felt like it was real, but again, it didn't, because in my head, it was like, I want to be working back then. It was a big deal to work at the big two, or like have an image book or something like that. Right. So I feel that like for you youngins out there, I don't feel like there are any youngins in the audience, but
No, I
there's
don't
this
think so.
weird thing that happens when you start creeping up on 30. You start seeing like, wait, I'm going to be 50 tomorrow. So I feel like it's all going to fall apart if
Yeah.
this doesn't happen right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I want to point out where'd it go?
Lots of good
Right,
stuff.
what Von Klaus said. He said tons of
Yeah.
people exploded in their 40s. Kirby did. I think Kirby died when he was in his 60s,
Yeah.
right? 60s or 70s. He didn't explode. Sorry.
And he
That joke.
worked.
But yeah, even Spider-Man didn't come out until Stan Lee was in his 40s.
Right.
So you're not wrong. There is the playing the long game.
Right. Well, and yeah, again, like don't get me, things have changed a lot since then.
That's true.
I'm not complaining. Like
Oh,
every
not
time
at all.
every time I see a page come in, I got one this morning and it's like I don't know. I just got to keep going, but it's just so rewarding. It's amazing. I get like when I first hit this fundraising goal, it's so amazing. It's just cool to be making the book. Like the one book will be amazing, but even more amazing is like, oh, if I keep working, the other part is like getting it done, but then you have to keep working if you want to keep doing it, obviously.
It's all about the hustle.
Yeah.
And guys, you gotta hustle. You really do. And I don't mean hurry up. I mean like get out, put yourself out there. Like,
Right.
how do you think I became this prolific this quickly? It's not even been a year, and I'm tied to some of the biggest names in indie comics.
Yeah.
It's not even been a year since I've really started lettering.
Well, tell me if this is what for me it was like you're trying. I really look. So I started several businesses, and to me, it's the same. And that was actually better experience for comics. Was starting a bit. I finally did a business that was successful, like sustainable long term, and it made profit.
Yeah.
And I'm continuing to do it because it makes profit. But that kind of thing, it's like if you're not seeing forward progress, in my opinion, you got to change. Like you got to change something.
Yep.
Once you start seeing that ball rolling, and that like with the YouTube channel, if you're trying a YouTube channel and you're not able to make any improvement in the views, you've got to change something.
Dye your hair. That helps.
Yeah, and your beard, whatever. Yeah, whatever you're doing, you gotta change something. And sometimes it'll get worse when you change. But yeah, even with comics, it was like you feel like this is the moment. I have an opportunity if I go for it. If you start feeling it moving and if things are rolling, you have to. It's like you just have to commit, and just push. But I don't know. This has been an insane year. This time last year, I still wanted to do comics and everything, but I was like, like life is good, and I'll just finance a comic someday just to say I did it. But then October rolled around. I don't know. It's just crazy, like how things worked out. It's been nutty.
That's when you launched, right? It was October.
October is when I made the YouTube channel, and again, I was talking about the Brett Kavanaugh hearing. I was talking about Alex Jones getting banned by Apple and all that kind of stuff.
You said it. You said his name. That's bad.
That's right. I forgot. We're alive. Yeah. All that, I was making videos about that kind of stuff, and then I saw Comicsgate. I still like that Comedy Central thing. What's Jim Jeffries?
Yeah. Man, that feels like a lifetime ago.
It does. But I saw that and it made me so upset. I've said this before, but like I sent Richard Meyer an email. I found his email address and I sent him an email and said like, hey man, however I can support you. It was like late at night. I watched the video on my phone and then I got up and my wife, she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I've got to write this guy an email. It's funny, like that kind of stuff like gets you going. Obviously, it's not just me either. It's a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
There was a whole, I mean, I think we all have our
yeah,
come to come to Jesus moment for Comicsgate, or for not even just Comicsgate, but like just pop culture in general, where that thing happens
yeah,
and you just it clicks and you're like, I have to do something about this.
yeah,
Yeah. So like, man, for me, I like, this is right around the time last year when I was just finding out about CG. Was like July of last year, and like I was painting, and which my wife's like, you need to paint because you got really good really fast. Uh, so I need to paint. Somebody suggested that, I think it was Albino Thunderbuns, who's not here right now, but he's in our chats a lot, and he was like, you should do paintings of the characters of Oz. And I was like, dude, like the 94 Fleer Ultra from Marvel, that'd be fantastic. So that might happen. But I saw, I've told this before, but an acquaintance, a friend, a guy I was friendly with, we pitched a book together, was got weird after Trump was elected. And then he was just, he's very angry online. And
derangement syndrome.
yeah,
Yeah.
also, I gotta say, it was Von Klaus. You're right, but he was in the chat too. He was in the DMs there, Von Klaus. Anyways, Von Klaus asked for the paintings. I remember when Pete, I have to center myself. I don't get animated or upset about a lot of things. This thing upset me. So remember when everything fell apart at Alterna?
Yeah.
And Pete talked about how low he got and things that he was contemplating.
Yeah.
This person made fun of him for that.
Really?
Made fun of him for that. And I know for a fact that this guy had struggled with that same thing in his past. And I thought that was the lowest, dirtiest. I will keep it clean for all the children watching, but that was the crummiest thing. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I don't know. It drives people to action.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That guy's response is how I found out about Jawbreakers. And I was like, this thing, I kind of agree with Richard Meyer on these videos. Man, this art does suck. This Captain Marvel character does look like a dude. Wow, they don't draw backgrounds at all. This doesn't look like New York City. Wow, who's this Ethan Van Sciver? Why was he doxxed about his divorce? I started watching his videos, and then the whole Robbie Rectum thing happened. And I said, that's it.
Yeah.
Planted my flag in the ground.
Right.
On that one.
Yeah, and yeah, again, I don't want to say too much about this, but I have conversations with people that are not in Comicsgate, but they're in comics. And some of it is concern, like, you seem like a nice guy, but you shouldn't, there's some things that you probably shouldn't be doing or whatever. The thing is, I'm completely honest here. I don't regret anything that I'm sure I've said like something I would have reworded. How could I not have after making so many videos? But generally speaking, like this is what I believe, and again, like the people watching now too, like we wouldn't be here if it didn't upset us, if it didn't make us, want to support those people being stomped all over.
Yep.
I don't care about mainstream comics anymore. Yeah, because they don't care about me. That's how I feel. Like even just as a reader, they do not care. I do not want to have to recognize my privilege. Like I get this kind of stuff working in higher education. I really should stop talking about that too. One day I would love to say a whole lot about all that, but yeah, I see this a lot, and it you kind of see the future, what's coming around the bend in higher ed, and it comes out about 5 years later. In actually, comics is earlier on than film. But yeah, it's all coming. That's where it's coming from. It's academia, and it isn't. I have seen some stuff today that was insane. But yeah, like I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Just kind of a rant.
Hey man, people like the fire.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dark Admiral Marcher says, I'm with you there, Eric. I met a creative team that worked for Alterna, and it was great. Then they turned on him, and it had me so pissed. Yeah, I had we talked behind the scenes. The first time Peter was on the show with the two of us, and
Yeah.
I won't say anything about the team, who they are or what it was, but it was one of those that I was like, man, you guys just don't get it. You had a good thing here. Now it's dead. This
Yeah.
book isn't going anywhere, anytime else. And it was getting nationwide coverage. And all because he said, don't blockchain people.
Yeah.
That's how it started. It was like, yeah, if you get an a-hole, mute him or block him, that's fine. But don't just block people because they follow Ethan Van Sciver, because there's gonna be a chain reaction that comes back to you of somebody that wants to view your Twitter because they liked your book, but then they can't say they're blocked by you. It's bad for business.
Yeah.
And they were speaking lies, unfortunate lies about a movement that we're a part of and friends that I have in this movement, and it's just
Yeah. That's the thing, and this is part of the reason why I, I'm not sorry about being critical of Rich Johnson and Bleeding Cool, for example. They say terrible things, like falsehoods about all sorts of people. Peter Samedi's one. Peter, like I'll tell you, when I first got into all this and I started my Twitter account and everything, he was one of the people in comics that would actually talk to me. You know what I mean? And not like troll. Like I consider Peter a friend. Like just we talk frequently. I really like Peter. And so I don't know, when I hear stuff, it just doesn't line up at all. It's insane. I'll say the same thing about Ethan too. Ethan's only ever been nice to me. Only. Like I've only had good experiences with him. People want me not to like Ethan. I'm sorry, I like Ethan. I don't know your boy Zach very well. We've corresponded a few times over email. Not since that night, actually. He never responded to that email. But yeah, since then we talked a little bit. I like him too. Like I like these people. I like Doug Ernst a lot. Like I don't know. I'm not sorry. but I feel do you get that though?
Demand an apology for everything you've done.
I don't know. Like I hear from people and it's like I don't know what to tell you. Like I don't know. Do you get anything like that? Do you get messages from people?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Not yet.
Well,
yeah, they'll come. I'll send you one later if you want, but
from you or to you?
No. I'll send you. I'm not. Yeah, I'll send you one from me.
Okay.
If you want. Yeah. We'll do that. Yeah, man. I don't know. It's cool though. It's just this network of creators. It's been cool. I see Von Klaus in there, and lots of people. All these names of people, and I know like a million other people, more interesting people, are streaming right now. I don't know.
The hard hitting truth bombs here tonight. That's what's important.
Yeah, but it's been, I don't know. I almost want it when you reflect back on it. It's just been, I don't know. When did you start lettering? It was about a year ago, then, right? Was that when you got the job?
A little more than a year ago, because I talked about this. I had Zeb, for those of you that are interested, Zeb Hatfield, a writer of Operation Zephyr. I had him on my stream on my channel this afternoon, and we talked about Oz and sort of how we met and all of that stuff. But I lettered one of his books before I even knew who he was. We have a mutual friend. The artist of that book we're friends with, and I lettered that book, and I honestly don't remember the time that happened, but I sort of came off of that thinking, hey, I could probably letter. And then actually, let me search the hashtag.
Yeah, find that on Twitter. But it happened so quickly.
It happened very quickly.
But
Yeah,
you're still talking about a year of
a year, and that's it. I mean,
having your head down and working your butt off.
yeah.
Um,
And it's the hustle. Okay, so it
Yeah.
was September when the 31st of August, John Malin tweeted out, Tuesday, we're picking a letterer for Graveyard Shift. If you have lettering samples linked directly to this hashtag below, looking for early Spawn-inspired lettering, please retweet so we can get as many samples as possible. Be aware, this is a Comicsgate project. And this happened. I saw it on the 31st, probably maybe the 1st of September. And I was out of town at the time. I was in my in-laws. We were visiting my in-laws. And I said, because we were like, it was, I think it may have been maybe a holiday or something, but there was something with the schedule where like we could have stayed an extra day or we could have left. We were sort of toying with the idea of when to go home. And I was like, babe, we gotta go because I gotta go home and do this. And she's like, okay. So I went home and I lettered this page. I pulled it from the campaign and I tweeted to him and said, John Malin, here's the page I threw together. I just picked some lyrics to use as a script because there was no script, right? And you have to like reach out to him and say, hey, can you give me a follow and all of that. So I opened up Spawn #1, looked at how Tom Orzechowski lettered, and sent this his way. And I mean, the rest is history, quite honestly. So
walking on you. Yeah.
yeah,
That was your first, just
this was
application.
my resume, if you will. This was my, I can letter the book for you. And it's the captions up top are taken from Spawn. I think they're the first caption in Spawn, or at least it's in Spawn #1, I believe. And then the talking is just lyrics from Metallica's One.
Oh, cool.
So
it's
like,
like you didn't need a script. You're just showing the lettering.
yeah, and I didn't have one, but you need words, right? So and I'm looking at this thinking, man, this is terrible lettering. I'm seeing all the stuff that I would do differently now.
Yeah.
But it was enough. It was enough.
But you had a shot. That's Asuka says that one decision.
That one decision.
That could describe like that is my experience too. Like the one you see this one opportunity and you go for it.
Yeah.
And then again, it's not like you did it and you made it. But you see the one opportunity, you go for it, and then you keep pushing the ball.
Keep pushing, because then I saw Richard. It was that same, I think it was in September. He said, finally lettering Jawbreakers, and he posted a picture of the first the front page, which people thought was going to be the cover. You know, it was the page 1 of them running from the monster in the Eiffel Tower in the background. And he had letters on it, and it was a little stiff. It wasn't great. I mean, it was his lettering, and he letters in Manga Studio, and there's a certain Manga Studio lettering look, and that was it.
Yeah. And
I was like, I tweeted at him with it, and then even I saw Tim Lim in there saying, ooh, more dynamic balloons. Like he was getting roasted in the chat.
Yeah.
And so I immediately went to email, and I was like, I remember the headline, the subject was Make Lettering Great Again. And I said, hey, I saw your thing. Great lettering, bad lettering can kill an otherwise great book. You've got a lot of great talent on here. By the way, I'm lettering Jawbreakers. I'm lettering Graveyard Shift by John Malin, who obviously you're working with right now. Let me know. And he got right back to me. We emailed back and forth, and I was basically hired the same day. And I got started that weekend.
That's cool.
And so, and again, those two just sort of opened the floodgates. And even John Malin had put stuff in their little DM thing, and like Donald DeLay messaged me like right away, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna need a letter for Bruce. I'm still waiting on those pages, by the way. Now we gotta wait for the colorist. But they're coming soon, you know. And it's just one after the other, and people just started coming to me So that's what I'm saying about like, I had put in a lot of years of lettering on my own stuff. It wasn't a lot of books, but over the years I got better and better as I lettered Flying Fortress and other stuff that was just, if it was a page that I drew, I was like, by the way, I can letter, you know?
Yeah.
So, or not just a page, but like a little short story or whatever. I did other comics in between. So that's that hustle behind the scenes building up, and it turned into this thing. It was like, now I'm sort of a meme of myself because it's like, if you got a CG book, obviously you've got a cover by Matt Weldon and lettering by Eric Weathers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, that is funny. But
yeah,
the thing is, it's weird because you have like people didn't care before, you know what I mean? I
yeah,
mean,
people are like,
for
"Come
me,
here,
it was,
letterer."
yeah, I was writing so much. I was in this Octal group. I've mentioned them before months ago on Facebook, and like working on like, hey, I want to do this pitch for Octal, and sending it in, and the one, only the one guy would give you feedback, and he just kept telling me like, there's not, like, just don't. Like, I don't think this is gonna work, you know. And this was Downcast that I was working on, and he just kept like, no, this sucks. Which was fine. Like,
Good way to pitch your book to people.
yeah, no, well, I was drawing it. I showed you the pages.
Yeah, that's true. I do remember that.
I was drawing it, yeah. So yeah, but it was like, well, I'm just working. Like, I don't care how long it takes me on. I'm just working
Yeah.
on it. Um but yeah, anyway, it's just weird because writing was always, I've put years into writing and published things. That's really what I want to do, is write. And
Mhm.
drawing is like, I got to be able to do pictures with this
You
thing.
felt like you had to do everything.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
felt the same way, and so I ham-fistedly, along with Andy Moore, we ham-fistedly, like, built this the Flying Fortress story is so cool, and I'm not just saying that because 'cause I'm trying to, get people to back it. Like, every time I read it, I smile, and I'm like, "Man, we really made a fun book here." There's a lot of adventure and
Yeah.
action, and I'm just happy that all of those years of what felt like, it was rough there for a while. It was really
Yeah.
rough because it would be like, I'd print a book, and he was very nice. Andy had the full-time job, so he was always just writing or co-writing, or we'd get in a hangout like this, and over 3 or 4 hours, we'd be like, yeah, we'd pitch stuff back and forth, and then half the time, heck, 3/4 of the time, we'd be like, "Oh, we'll hit it tomorrow." We'd come back the next day, and we'd be like, "I was thinking we could do this, this, and this," and the other guy would be like, "That's exactly what I was thinking." So, like, that we were all it's very rare to be that in tune, but, I mean, we've been friends since we were
Yeah.
middle school, but, um,
There's
being
some,
able to go ahead.
there's something to be said for specializing
Yeah,
in your thing. Yeah.
yeah. So, I learned how to make everything involved in comics through this book. Because I always wanted to just be a penciler. So I was like, I don't want to ink. So he inked a little bit, and then we just did Photoshop inking for a while. And I was like, well, I can't afford a colorist, so I learned to color ham-fistedly again. I felt like a lot of that stuff was just sort of flying by the seat of the pants. Grab the parachute on the way down, whatever metaphor you want to use. But here it is. It's possible there are rumors between him and I that we may have started the idea of this book in 2009, but I think it was 2010. But we're coming up on 10 years from when this germ of an idea started, right?
Yeah.
And it's just crazy to think that now we're looking down an Indiegogo, and we're staring at $26,000 and over 500 people that are interested in it.
Yeah.
And that's just
Well,
insane. And now people are coming to me. They're like, "Hey, I know you can letter, but are you available to draw?" I'm like, "I can't." I'm like, "Sorry, you just
yeah.
wait till you see Oz."
Right.
So
Well, it's like the Octal group. The whole point of it was to get a publisher, small press publisher.
mhm,
That was Downcast. Like, I started working on it, and I have I turned down. I've had publishing offers for Downcast. I turned one down. It's just weird. like the opportunities that are available.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because people are willing to help each other out and things, but it's insane, like just the whole course of things, how they've changed. But yeah, talk about surreal. That was weird. I didn't go this particular publisher I'm talking about. I did not go to them. They came to me.
Yeah.
They wanted to publish it, and we talked a little bit. I was like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
No thanks.
I
Yeah.
haven't had that yet. I'm okay of that not happening. Flying Fortress has always been our sort of,
Yeah.
our thing. And I think it'll always be our little thing. And the fact that self-publishing in indie comics right now is on fire is great for the whole movement. It's great for this book. It's great for all of that. Like if there were to ever be a sequel to Flying Fortress, even then we would probably just go this route.
Yeah.
I don't
It-
know about needing to be published.
Yeah, I don't. There's some narrow reasons why it would be nice, but again, you'd have to have the right kind of deal for it. I don't know. Generally speaking, you don't really need a publisher, and the reason why most would
Not this day and
come.
age.
What's that?
I said not this day and age.
No, and the reason why they'd come to you is because they see, oh, you've got money. I'll take some of that.
Yeah.
I'll take some of that money. And that doesn't make sense. So I don't know, like things have evolved a little bit. But yeah, I just think I'm a writer, but I'm also the marketing wing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Channel's not huge, but I can market.
You've got
That's
a lot
for
of
sure.
hats.
Yeah. Yeah. But that means I'm not drawing a book. I want to work on drawing and stuff like that. It's fun. I'd still love to draw a book. I actually have another good idea for a horror book I want to do.
You know what? If you get that drawing itch, just do what Pete does.
What does Pete do?
He just does those sketch cards.
Oh, yeah. He gets paid to do those, huh?
Yeah. He's got a
Yeah.
little Etsy store, and he said he takes a few commissions here and there.
Yeah.
Pays for his McDonald's Happy Meals and
Yeah.
whatever he eats. I assume it's just Happy Meals.
That's all. I'm sure. Yeah.
A good question in the chat.
Yeah. Where is it?
From Metatron's Cube, he says, "Are either of you guys already thinking about your next campaigns?"
Yes.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the next 3 or 4. Honestly.
Yeah. It's the order. I don't know as for you. For me, it's the order in which they fall because they're all relying on something. But I told you guys I've got a blockbuster coming, and it's coming. I don't know when though, and part of it's just timing. But their pages are done.
As we talked earlier in the stream, Operation Zephyr is next. But
yeah,
I mean that's hopefully I can get that launched by the end of the year. But now I'm looking at how Flying Fortress is shaping up, and just I really feel like seeing how your boy is doing it with Jawbreaker's God King is pretty much done. I haven't lettered any of that yet, but I've lettered all of Devil Dog and all of Desolation Wave. So I just have the Zashi thing and the 40 pages, 50, whatever it was of God King. So, but he's that close to being done. Like the next one, there is that part of me that thinks, go ahead and work behind the scenes on. I mean, I am obviously, but get way more of it done beforehand.
Yeah.
So that because when you launch, there's two things about it, right? So I could get a lot of it done, do the campaign, raise the money, be ready to print in a month or two, which is how Flying Fortress is going. Or I could launch the campaign sooner to now, in September, October time-ish, and then let it stand in demand for 6 months and still raise money that way. So how, I would over that period of time be able to make more money, but you know what I mean? There's something to consider there.
Yeah. It's tough. I don't know. With Downcast 2, I want to have most of it finished because now, and the same with you too. It's like the confidence level of this will get funded. Whereas your first time, it's like, I don't want to spend all this money if I can't make it, you know?
Well, it's different for you as a writer.
Well, yeah, that's true. It's not like I'm able to just make the book. It costs significant amounts of money to do that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I've got Oz, and then after that, there's I can't say, but there are other things in the ether that are coming to fruition. Sort of deals are being made, and handshakes are being shaken, and those are just my books. Or some of them aren't my books, but I'm going to be hired to do more than just lettering. I'll say,
Mm,
which is great. I mean, yeah, I'm 35. I'm not 30, but you know, I'm getting to that point where it's like I'm a professional in the comic book industry.
mhm. Yeah.
And
I've got, oh, sorry.
I'm just saying that's pretty cool.
It is cool. I'm hoping I'll get there one day. Who
You're there
knows?
to make money. You just need to actually put the book out.
Right.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's
We
coming.
got to get you to 30 grand so I can draw your sketch card. Your
Yeah, I might have to. I might have to do some kind of mixture of live streams and regular videos. I think.
Well, you do you.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'm still thinking a lot about it, but I will say so. Downcast 2 is in the works. But obviously the art's not going anywhere because Downcast 1 is still in progress.
Right.
Then I have the Blockbuster,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm not saying a word about outside of that, but other than like pages have been completed, like it's moving forward.
Yeah.
Now
I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah. You know, you're one of the few people that knows. And then I have let's see. I really want to do that Coma Monk book. That's another one.
That seems like it should have a theme song.
It's so awesome, man.
People
The
want
story's
Coma Monk.
great. Yeah, let's see. Aaron Olson says your boy Zach could be using pages from his Jawbreakers God King work to sell the book, but he's not, and I think that's actually a mistake. His idea. So he's not showing pages then. Oh, he's showing pages from the other little stories, right?
Well, there's some God King stuff in there. There is.
Oh, there is. Okay.
Yeah, he's showing pages from everything.
He's showing fewer pages than I know he did for the first one, I guess.
Yeah, well, he's taking. Some people are saying you're showing too much. Now I think he's showing too little.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have like even 3 or 4 pages of a sequence. I mean, kind of nice. There's no lettering.
Yeah.
You don't know what they're saying, so visuals might be spoiled, but you may not know exactly what's going on story-wise. Like the pages in Jawbreakers on the campaign, you didn't really understand what was happening. Like you knew they were running from bad guys or whatever, but you didn't know what was happening story-wise.
Yeah, it's out of context.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a hard balance to strike. I already kind of feel like if you're following me on Twitter, you've seen a lot of pages from Downcast, but I'm still not showing. I don't know. I just sort of think if it was me, I would not want to see too much.
Yeah.
I would err on the side of seeing less because I'd rather read it and see it for the first time.
Yeah.
But again, that depends. It's a balance because how much is too much? I don't know the answer to that question, but
too much.
Yeah. Wow. Fun stream though.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes like this it started out like a kind of a regular stream for us. It was less prepared. And then it ended up with and it ended up being kind of like a chill stream.
It did turn into that. I apologize if that messes up your
No.
Hindu children's algorithm.
It doesn't even matter, man. My at this point, I don't understand how they do the live streaming so well. But it might be because people expect, like I've already been working on so much of like people expect Sweetcast to be the Dan Rather of comics, and it's just like
Yeah.
It's just like matter of fact videos. They're video essays. You know, they want video essays. So
Look, if you need to go back to video essays, do it, and then we can still stream.
yeah, we can stream. We'll have to figure out I don't know. I think a balance is probably good.
A balance might be good. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna think about it a little bit and work out a schedule. This is Thursday though, right? So
Yeah, we don't have a show tomorrow, which is good because I need to
yeah,
relax.
yeah, take a break.
Yeah. We should get out of here though.
Yep. Hey, thanks for everyone. 19 people still here. Thank you.
All
Really
those
appreciate it.
People.
Yeah. Yeah, hardcore. You guys are awesome.
True fans, the ones that are feeding us the bucket as we're putting the lotion on our skin. And never mind, that's the wrong analogy. It's been a long time. We should get out of here.
Wrong kind of fan. Good night, everyone.